Hi everyone, and welcome to this morning's webinar in our HR digital transformation journey with SAP SuccessFactors. Today's section is on the new rules of talent management. My name is Cynthia Kome, and I'm your host for this section. In a brief, I'll just cover some housekeeping tidbits. If you can hear me, can you just click on the hand icon on your panel? Or just type yes in the chat box. Okay, I can see some hands. Okay. Thank you very much once again. We will be addressing your questions at the end of the section, but we'd like to encourage you to drop them in the chat box as and when they come to mind. Like I said, if you can't hear us or you have any technical challenges, kindly send us your challenges in the chat box. Our guest for today's webinar is Francisca Apieje. Francisca is a certified SAP consultant here at Persol Systems Limited. Now, Persol is an SAP partner, and we implement and sell SAP solutions, including SAP SuccessFactors. At this time, I would like to invite Francisca to say a bit about herself and what she does.
Hello everyone. My name is Francisca Apieje. I'm a certified SAP consultant. So for some time now, I have been using software to solve HR problems. I look forward to having an interactive sessions with you, and I hope you find this session very insightful. Thank you all for joining.
Thank you. And welcome everyone again for our section this morning. Now, a little recap of what we did last time. We touched on the agile performance management, and we saw that there is a need for our workforce to be engaged and aligned by giving them objectives that are aligned to the corporate objectives in a whole, and thereby coaching them and giving them all the feedback they need so they perform well on those KPIs that we're giving them, and then we appraise them at the end of the year. And so we move on from the days where we are reactive to performance management and now become proactive in how we engage with our workforce and how we appraise them in their performance. So for our topic today, Francisca, can you tell us what's next after appraisal is done at the end of the year?
Good question. So the objective of every appraisal session is to see the appraisal scores, to be able to manage the appraisal results, as well as also reward the appraisal results. To see, because you can't manage or reward something you haven't seen, and so HR and line managers need to see accurate data so that they can take business decisions. After seeing the data, there is a need to manage. So we manage by assigning learning goals or learning activities to employees who need it, as well as plan succession with our high potential employees. there is also the need to also reward employees after an appraisal session, because research has shown that when we tie appraisal results to employees' performance, they are motivated to do more, and then they perform higher, and then they get higher appraisal scores. So after appraisal, there is a need to see the appraisal results, to be able to manage the appraisal results, as well as reward the appraisal results as well.
Okay. So seeing the appraisal results and moving on to rewarding. In your submission, you mentioned succession planning. What is succession planning and what has changed?
This question brings to mind the case of a runaway talent. So there was this young man who was recruited to the research department of an organization at the time that the organization was trying to come up with a new product. This young man worked so hard because whatever he was working on was what he had dreamt of working on. And then fast forward to management meeting, they met and then they were discussing their succession plans. This young man's line manager nominated him to be his successor, unknowingly to the young man. Now, the young man was working one day when he received a call from a competitor, giving him a better deal that he was offering at his organization. He didn't want to leave, but unsure of his future with the organization, he decided to take the bold step and then take the offer. He went to the organization and he was able to come up with a very brilliant product. And then his new organization was able to get an upper hand over his old organization. They enrolled him into their succession plans, and then he knew his future with the organization. So everything in here was visible to him. He knew what he had to do to get to his desired results, and he knew who he was succeeding. He had all the support from this organization. To the old organization, they struggled very hard to get a best fit for this young man who left the organization. They had to go in for another person, train the other person to be able to take the place of this young man. Now, back to your question. Every organization, in one way or the other, plan for succession. So succession planning just is identifying internal people and then developing them for future roles. Now, the problem that there are some few problems with succession planning, and then we use this runaway talent case to address those problems. The first thing that we need to do when we are planning for succession is to identify these high potential employees. In the case of this young man, he was identified as a high potential employee. Now, after identifying a high potential employee, there is a need to develop the employee so that the employee doesn't only become technical, but develops every aspect of his life. So in this young man's case, nothing of that sort was given to him. He didn't get even the opportunity to even develop other aspects of his life. Now, the third thing is to liaise with line managers to mentor these employees, because these employees are going to succeed these people, and so there is a need for them to get some little bit of mentoring. In the case of the runaway talent, he didn't get that mentoring in his old organization. And then the final most important thing is to make data visible so that the employees in the organization know their future with the organization. They know what they have to do to get to their future, and they have all the support from HR and the organization as well as to what they have to do to get to their future. We understand that all these things done manually is cumbersome and a lot of work. That is why we are proposing two solutions for you: succession and development planning, and then compensation planning as well, which will help automate all your processes for you. So in a bit, I'll be showing you bits and pieces of these solutions, and we can take it from there.
Okay, wow. So we have to identify, develop, and mentor our workforces and keep data so that we can have a good succession management. Now, I am a manager, and I can see that this young man's story you just narrated is climbing up the ladder to catch up with me. How should I, or how can managers address uncertainty of them losing their jobs when they mentor people to take up their roles?
Question. So in an organization, everybody is a successor to someone. So in as much as an employee is a successor to his or her line manager, the line manager could also be a successor to the director or his line manager as well. So in an organization, everybody knows who he's succeeding and everybody knows clear path to what he has to do to get his desired results. And so there is always that push, because I know when I'm going up and I'm taking you along, so there is always the push because everybody knows where he fits and what his future is in a particular organization.
So no one can be afraid of losing their jobs because someone is coming to succeed them.
No.
Wow, that's good to know. All right, so what really are some of the impacts of these trends on our growing workforce?
So the workforce is now being more proactive than reactive. So instead of waiting for a position to become vacant before we plan for succession, we are constantly developing talent pools. And these talent pools are developed in a way that employees know the criteria by which these talent pools are created. They know why they are in a talent pool. They know what they have to do to develop to the next thing. And these talent pools are associated with positions. So I wanted to show you in a bit how our system handles that. So these talent pools are related to positions. So this position knows that I have a talent pool called high potential employees who are potential successors to me. And even within these talent pools, we have employees who are ready now, employees who will be ready in 1 to 2 years, as well as employees who will be ready to 5 years. So there is more transparency, there is more engagement as to what employees should do, and all that they have all the support through the engagement. And there is also communication to these employees for the things that they have to do to get to their desired results. So there is more transparency, there is more engagement, as well as communication in the growing workforce.
Okay, so we wait for the short demo, right?
Yes, I wanted to show you. So I'm going to my succession planning. And then the first thing that I wanted to show you was the succession org chart. So this is a succession org chart which plans succession for the entire organization. So coming in here as a line manager, I know who my successor is. So I am here as Maya Cooper. My successor is Geoff Hill, and I know that my successor is ready now. My successor is in a talent pool. He belongs to one talent pool, just like I spoke about recently. When I go up one level, I'm also able to know who I'm succeeding. So which of the roles I'm a successor to. So I know I am a successor to this current role, the SVP operations and maintenance. And then I know I'll be ready in 1 to 2 years. So I am currently not ready for the role, but in 1 to 2 years, I'll be ready. So I can go through the entire organizational succession structure, and I'm able to see the succession path for all the positions. Our system also don't plan successions for only people. It also plans succession for roles as well. So for roles that are currently not occupied by anything, we can even plan succession for that role. So it doesn't only plan for people, but we plan for positions as well. The talent pools that I also spoke about. So we have a talent pool and we have names for the talent pools. The name is based on what these employees do. So a talent pool like high potential employees means that they are high potential, they are high performing potential employees. So they are future leaders in this room, in this pool. And I can link this pool to a role which the role can source information from for their succession plans. So I have digital experts pool, I have a pool like executive management, I have high potentials, I have leadership, as well as top talent. So all these things helps us in our succession planning so that we don't plan our succession from scratch. At least we have a basis by which we plan our succession.
Good to know that the system can help us do all these things. You mentioned earlier that our workforce is growing, and we all can confirm that in every organization, there is more than 2 generations. And so expectations are completely different. Now, HR constantly are feeling the pressure to accommodate these changes. Can you tell us how HR leaders today can leverage this diverse workforce for succession planning?
So HR leaders today have a clear vision of the desired results, so they know what they want. And what HR leaders of today want is a seamless generational succession that guarantees business success. HR can also ascertain that what actions needed to achieve the results involve effective knowledge transfer, and cohesive teamwork between these generations, all the generations that we have in our workforce today. And the beliefs that would naturally motivate this behavior include the belief that inclusivity and diversity enable greater collective success by bringing together to the table a pack of unique skill sets and perspective. What this does is it creates an opportunity for things like cross-generational mentoring, and this helps in greater diversity and collaboration. So in the system, I would show you a part that we call mentoring. So we can create a lot based on the knowledge that we have in the organization. We can create a mentoring program, and then we can enroll ourselves as mentees or mentors. So a program like Emerging Leaders Mentoring Program. If I have knowledge on this activity, I will sign up as a mentor so that I get people and then I mentor them to also become adept in this knowledge. So it means that we are all bringing together to the table the idea. You have your idea, I have my idea. I bring mine to the table, we share. You bring yours to the table, we share. And then at the end of the day, there is this cross-generational mentoring. At the end of the day, they can only differentiate between us by our ages, but how we think and how we do our things, it is like a collective something. So there is no differentiation between us.
So then that brings about the cohesion.
Yes, that brings about it. No.
It's good to know. Now, we know that there are so many methods and tools that aids in succession planning or succession management, and one of such tools is the 9-box. Can you tell us how that can help guide our talent management and then our career growth?
So the 9-box relies heavily on the intensity of conversation about the employee performance and then the values that the employee exhibits in an organization. So it includes the debates that we have with the employees, the one-on-one conversations, and then the time taken to provide an exhaustive view of an individual to HR. So the 9-box is a leadership talent management tool that is used to assess individuals on 2 things. One, their past performance, and then their future potential as well. Mostly, it is very easy to assess employees' performance because we assess employees' performance based on what we've seen employees do. So it is mostly easy to assess employees' performance. But when it comes to potential, then it becomes a problem because potential is you projecting into the future and you realizing that this employee is a potential or it's a high potential to the organization. So normally, an organization can set up a list of things that they are going to examine the employee on. An example could be cognitive reasoning or maybe leadership skills, so that it wouldn't be just the line manager assessing the employee, but it will be all line managers in the organization, what they think about the employee. Now, what this data does is it helps organizations make decisions such as identifying the organization's leadership pipeline and how to identify the keepers in the organization, as well as help HR improve or remove decisions. That is the difficult part of HR's job, to say that we are keeping this employee or we are letting this employee go. And then this performance potential, or the 9-box tool, it is made up of 3 boxes on the y-axis, which assesses leadership performance, and then 3 boxes on the y-axis as well, which also assesses potential performance. And a combination of this x and y-axis makes up the box within which the individual is placed. So in a short while, let me show you how the 9 box is in our system. So I'm a line manager, and I don't have to manually go into the system to draw this box. After the data is collected in the organization, this box is plotted for me, and then I know where each of my direct reports fall. So I see in here that I have my three boxes for the performance. I have from fair, good to excellent, and I have 3 boxes for my potential as well. I have from low, medium, and high. Now, when I see an employee placed in a high potential box, but a fair performance box, then I know that what this employee needs is coaching. Sometimes we make the mistakes that a high performing employee can also be a high performing employee in another role. Sometimes it is not the employee who isn't performing, but the current role that the employee finds himself or herself in that is not helping the employee perform. So when I see that this employee was good in his previous role, but he's struggling in his current role, then I can have a conversation around changing the employee's current role for him so that he can also perform. When I see employees in a box like medium potential and then good performance, then I know that he is a solid contributor, and I can also nurture this employee to become a great performer. Employees in this rank, excellence rank, is employees who have high potential as well as excellent performance. These people are the people that I plan succession with, because I know they are high potential, high performing employees. So I can plan my succession with this group of people. Now, the namings in the boxes are not like a fixed rule something. So the organization will decide how they want to call all the boxes. So under performer, my organization calls this box the low performing, low potential box under performer. But another organization can choose to call it low performer. So it is not a fixed rule. So the organization decides how they want to call any of these boxes. But these boxes help line managers as well as HR to make business decisions about the job roles that needed to be changed, the employees who need some little bit of coaching, those who need learning, and as well as those who we can plan our succession with. So it's a very powerful tool, and it helps very much in our talent management decisions.
Indeed, it is to think job analysis and all that is interesting. So, in all of that, after all of that is said, how can HR leaders start treating succession planning as part of their employee value proposition? Because every employee lately have their own value proposition where they want to go, and in any organization they find themselves, whatever role they are playing in that organization, they want to make sure that every activity they do is in line with their value proposition. So how can HR leverage that to the corporate value proposition?
To answer this question, I also want to use a case study. So a case study of an employee called Amma, who is currently an IT consultant for an organization. In the next 4 years, Amma wants to become a freelance HR consultant working for herself. Now, she currently needs to enroll in an HR certification program, and she also needs to join an HR network and maybe get a little bit of an experience from working on internal projects. HR quickly learns of Amma's value proposition, which is to become a freelance HR consultant in the next 4 years, and is able to link it to the overall corporate value proposition, which is to say that they are providing IT support to HR people all over the world. Now, HR liaises with the organization and is able to pay the tuition fee for Amma to join, for example, the CIPD UK body. And then as soon as she pays for this tuition fee, she has a leverage on Amma. So she assigns internal projects for Amma to work on. She quickly goes to their company profile and then updates their profile to say that now they don't only do IT consulting, they also do HR consulting, which will also boost the confidence of their clients in them. and she also gets Amma a team to work with. So as Amma is working with this team, she's also mentoring this team so that in her absence, this team can also work as HR consultants because of the experiences they had with Amma. At the end of the 4 years, Amma might still decide to go since her value proposition was still to leave and become a freelance. Even if Amma leaves, based on the support and the good relationship that she had with the organization or with HR, Amma, whenever the organization calls on Amma to deliver on anything, Amma is always happy to help. Also, they have a team now who can also work like Amma would have worked when she had stayed. And then, and this team can also be competitors for Amma. So now Amma is a freelance. So Amma will be seeking for deals from customers. But the organization can also say that we also have in-house consultants who can also compete with Amma in their dealings. Now the problem is normally HR is not able to link the employee's value proposition to the overall corporate value proposition. So there is always that hitch where an employee has their value proposition, the corporate also has one, but HR is unable to find the link between these two, and that creates a bit of a problem.
Wow, and sorry to cut you. HR practitioners, if you can help us, what do you do when you are unable to link your employee's value proposition to that of the corporate value proposition? Yes, Francisca, you can continue.
Okay, so I want to give a little submission before I move on. So there are cases where the employee's value proposition doesn't even align to the corporate value proposition. So I believe that with everything there is communication. So HR can communicate to this employee, and HR can help the employee see where he wants to be in the future. If the relationship is not going to benefit the organization as well as the employee, then HR can make the hard decision whether they would want to continue working with this employee and lose out, or they want to let this employee go. In any case, the employee is still going to spend some time of some of the company's time to develop themselves. So if the company is not going to benefit from what the employee is working on or how the developmental process of the employee, then I believe it's better to let them go. So most of the time, employees feel they will be sacked or victimized when they come clear about their value proposition to HR. So HR in the first place, HR doesn't even know what the employee's value proposition is, and so is unable to align it to the overall corporate objective. But if HR can act as that kind of trust or the trust body between the organization and employees and win the organization's trust, then I believe that the employees will be able to open up to HR, and if HR will also be able to work with the kind of information they have, whether they will be able to link the employee's value proposition to the overall corporate value proposition, or they would have to make the hard decision of letting the employee go. But in any case, HR should be supportive. HR should let the employee feel they are being supportive so that that kind of relationship can still go on.
Great. So it becomes, yes, employees their jobs are secured if they make their value propositions known to the corporate organization. Now, in your earlier submission, you mentioned data as part of the things needed for succession planning. And we know that sometimes it's very difficult getting data from HR. How would you address this? How can HR get us data that is a bit insightful for succession planning?
Okay, so I've been working with HR and I know that HR has data. That is the truth. HR has data. Now the problem is how HR keep their data. Most HR keep their data manually on paper. and we can all agree to the fact that updating data on paper isn't a joke at all. It's a huge work. And so that is the issue with HR, but HR has data. Some HR reps also prefer to keep their data on Excel sheets. But data on Excel is unreliable because there is an increased likelihood of data errors. So when there is a larger quantity of data that employees would have to enter, we are humans and then we are error prone. So maybe because of stress or something, we make errors whilst entering the data. Also, if there is a department with a lot of HR reps in the department and everyone is supposed to work on the same data, there is no audit trail in Excel. So I go in there and make a change. Maybe it's a mistake or something, but since there is no audit trail, we don't know where the error is coming from and we are unable to even see the error in the data. And so later on, we pay much attention to the data before we can see all these things. That is why we introduce you to a system like SAP SuccessFactors, which has a complete suite and then it manages employee data and performance data. So with this suite, HR is able to get accurate data, and with little or no work, they can leverage insights from this data with a smart discovery that uncovers hidden patterns, data blending, as well as visualization. And this creates an opportunity for collaboration and also team discussion. So we have a system in place that would help HR keep their data as well as gain insights, gain good insights on their data as well.
Well, it's good to know. So HR has data.
Yes, HR has data.
Okay. Francisca, please, can you tell us how HR can link performance appraisal to compensations? Because obviously, as we are talking about people moving from one road to the other because they are performing well, the issue of compensation will come up. How can HR link that?
So HR can link appraisal scores to a reward scheme or a compensation plan to say that if an employee in an organization scores 1, I'm going to give the employee 2 cedis. If the employee scores 5, I'm going to give the employee 50 cedis. Normally, employees are motivated to perform better when they know that they are getting something at the end of their hard work. Although we want to know our future with an organization, we also want to have a comfortable life, and so we also are interested in what we'll get today. And so when HR is able to link appraisal scores to an amount scheme, then employees are motivated to work better. And that is our second model, our second proposed model, that is compensation. So as a line manager, at the end of an appraisal session, I can come and plan a compensation for all my direct reports. What I see first is all my direct reports, their names with their appraisal scores, so that I know how much I'm giving to everybody. So this is the page. So this is the page. I see the names of all my direct reports as well as their appraisal scores. In the system already, HR has defined, so I see my direct reports and then the appraisal scores. In the system, HR has already defined the metrics for the money sharing, how I have to share my money. So HR is telling me that if an employee scores 1, I should give this amount to the employee. If an employee scores 4, I should give this amount to an employee. So everybody in the organization knows what is due them based on their appraisal score. So it wouldn't be like I'm giving money to my most favorite employee and then I'm giving some people out. Also, as a line manager, I have a budget. So in as much as I want to spend on my employees, I'm confined to work within my budget so that the organization also doesn't go into debt. So I have a budget here so that I can confidently plan my compensation with. All the fields here are auto-calculated fields. The only field that I need to edit is the merits field and then the adjustments field. So as at this time, I'm giving this employee 0. I can edit all the amounts here based on the budget that I have. So whilst I'm doing this, I have an oversight of the budget so that I don't go above the budget that HR has given me. So I can plan for all my employees, and after that, I'll just forward it to HR. Also, the last most important thing with compensation system is the approval section. Because compensation is a very sensitive thing, HR would want to review the plans that line managers have before the money is even paid to employees. So for this organization, they have 4 levels of approvals. I send as a line manager, it goes to another committee for review, another committee for review as well, before it goes to the payroll team to pay the money. So at every point in time, there is checks and balances to ensure that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, I'm giving the right amount to employees, I'm not overspending my budget, and I'm also giving all that is due my direct reports.
Wow. Good. Now, we want to encourage you to keep your questions coming. Already, we've gotten some questions already. Now, Francisca, someone wants to know why you should consider SAP success factors.
Question. So, SAP success covers the entire suite of an employee, from the time that you hire an employee to the time that you want to rehire an employee. So, you have suites covering recruiting models, which will help you which will help you attract the best talents for the organization. After you've recruited the employee, you want to onboard the employee into the organization's culture. We have a model for that as well. And then you need to also keep and manage the employee's data with our core HR system, which is very comprehensive with the leave management and so on. Also, after keeping and managing the employee's data, you want to keep the employee working on things that matters to the organization, as well as assess how the employee performs. So we have a performance and goals model that also handles that. And then after getting the performance results, then we have a learning model, which would help you assign learning content to employees who need learning, as well as the succession model, which would also help you to plan your successions in the organizations. And then the compensation model, which would also help you to reward employees at the end of their appraisals. And then last but not the least is my most favorite. It's called the people analytics, which combines artificial intelligence with business intelligence, and it gives you great insights. With little or no work, you get insights about your organization, and then you get good projections, and then you're able to make good business decisions out of the insights that you have from there. So SAP SuccessFactors covers you from hire to rehire. You don't have to get different systems for hire, different system for compensation, and it's highly integratable. So if you have all the models, you don't have to log in to one system and log out. You can, with a click of a button. So with this one, I have all the models here. So when I come here, I see I have performance, I have goals here, I have compensation, I have succession, I have recruiting. So with a click of a button, you can access all the models at a go, and it's not expensive. But as low as €5, you're able to enroll your employee on this system.
We still want to encourage you to keep your questions coming. Another question, Francisca. The person said that I don't have a system, but I want to do succession planning.
Okay, so the first thing is you don't need a system to run succession. The system is just an enabler. So what you have to get first is a structure in place. So you need to get a structure on how you want to plan your succession. So if you get a structure on how you want to plan your succession as an HR, then you have to do some change management with the employees, get the employees on board with the new change that you are bringing on board, how their succession is going to be run, so that the employees would understand and accept all the processes. And as soon as when you have a system and then you have change management on board your employees, getting a system is easier, and adoption rates becomes easy because your employees, you have a structure in place, and your employees also understand why the structure is there and how the structure works. So the first thing you need to get is a system in place, how you want to plan your succession. Okay, so someone is saying that it is great to have a performance management system, which is very difficult to be able to have a intensive performance management aspect that is This is absolutely true. This is right because everything that session runs on is based on goals, it's based on the employee's achievement, it's based on engagement over the period of time, which is linked to past performance and linked to the time taken to complete that activity. And um, last month or so, we had a session that actually treated performance management, spoke about what other people are doing and how SAP Success Factors is linking this trend to ensure that performance management is being managed properly. So I think for this comment, if you want to see how SF does it, please just send us a message and we can have that meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so to our next question. Okay, so it's a question about data, Francisca. There's a question. It said, how do I get data to do succession planning?
Okay. So if you have a performance and goals model, you can pull data from that model and then you can use it for succession planning. So because our models are highly integrated, you don't have to download, import, and export data. You just pull data from one model and then you use it in another model. So for succession planning, you just have to pull the data from the performance and goals model and then you can use it to plan your succession.
Still encouraging you to keep your questions coming and then we'll address them. Okay, so someone would like to know, Francisca, if you can throw more light on how to plan for succession. How can you plan succession?
Okay, so the first thing you need to do is to have structures in place. So have a structure like there is a department called sales department. There is a sales manager, there is an assistant sales manager, and then there is a junior sales officer. Now you would want to tell employees that with a potential of 5 as well as a performance of 5 for 2 subsequent years, you can move to the assistant sales manager in 2 years. And then with the same performance and potential, then you can also move to the sales manager in about 5 or 6 years. So you need to get a structure in place. And also, we need to also get the 9 box. If we don't have a system, then we should do it manually. So you get a plot of the performance against the potential. So at every point in time, the employee knows where he sits in the 9 box, what he has to do to get to the next stage of his career, and offer him all the support that he needs in the organization. And also, in an organization, HR has a lot of things to do. So for HR, after we have identified these people as potentials for the organization, we still need to develop them. So in our model, we have a development plan for employees. So we assign development plan for these employees so that they can develop other areas of their lives as well. And then we also liaise with line managers as well to train these employees. So they mentor them on the path that they think they are not good at. So if an employee is not good in something, then the line manager is supposed to mentor. Even the ones that the employee is good at, I believe that with additional mentoring, the employee can be a better person. As well as we also get the data to be visible so that employees know. After we as HR have the structure in place and how we want the compensation to succession to run, we make it visible to employees so that employees know exactly what they have to do. Employees knows exactly the kind of support they have in the organization, and they know the path that they need to take to get to the final destination.
Great. We would like to remind you that we'll be ending the session in 5 minutes. and also encourage you to keep your questions coming.
Okay, so quickly, I'll show you another thing since we are still gathering the questions. So on our career development plan, we have something called a career worksheet, where an employee can go in and then look for roles that he's considering. And based on competencies for that particular role, the employee knows whether he is ready for the role or not. So I am in as Maya Cooper, and I'm considering the role of a lawyer. I know per the competencies that I am exhibiting currently, I'm 29% ready for the role. What this does is it helps the employee develop themselves in their own way. Because the employees have interest in these roles themselves, they are willing to work extra so that they can be fully ready for the role. So I have competencies like composing and writing text, making accurate judgments, and all those sorts. But I know that I am 29% ready for the role because I have, for critical thinking, I am good at it. For communicating effectively, I am good at it. But for working safely, reading effectively, and all the others, I am lacking. So I work myself out and I'm able to be a best fit for the role. So this is very good for employees to also plan where they want to be and also know what they have to do to get to where they want to be. There is also the development plan, which assigns developmental goals to employees. So a manager can assign a developmental goal to an employee, as well as an employee can also assign goals to himself or herself. And then sometimes the employees don't want the managers to see the goals that they assign to themselves, so they keep it private. It is also possible here. Employees can add as many goals as possible so that they can track their progress with regards to their developments in the organization, as well as managers also assigning goals to them and tracking their progress, as well as the learning activities. So even though an employee can be a high-performing, high-potential individual, there will still be some little areas that as an organization would want the employees to develop, and so we can assign learning activities to the employee. So this model is very comprehensive. It covers almost everything that we need to do about succession and career development planning.
Oh, Francisca, that's very elaborate.
So because of time, I couldn't show you everything about the system. So I would be looking forward to hearing from you so that we can plan and have a demo session where I would show you what the system does, end-to-end solution demo of the system. And then I also hope to work with you in the future. So all of you that attended the webinar, I hope that in the future we can be we can also work together in the future and then solve some of our HR problems, which is currently bothering us. And finally, I want to say that with SAP SuccessFactors, you can start anywhere based on your need. So if an organization, your need is succession, then you can start with a succession and career development model, and you can grow wherever you are, you can grow. So whatever model you feel comfortable with for now, you can start from there and then you can build on it as time goes on.
Okay. I said that we were closing, but a question just came to me. And someone is asking what happens if an employee has been marked for an upgraded role, but for unexpected reasons, the employee failed to live up to expectations.
Okay,
How do you deal with this?
So we need to communicate with the employee to know what actually is the problem. Could it be that the role is he isn't comfortable with the role? Could it be that he lacks something? He lacks knowledge in something. That is why he's not performing as expected. If he isn't comfortable with the role, we can work around changing the employee's role. If it is not the role that the employee isn't comfortable with, and it is maybe some development, he or she is lacking in a developmental need, he has a developmental need, then we can also assign developmental goals to the employee. And we don't leave the employee like that. We mentor the employee, support the employee throughout his journey so that we can get the best out of the employee, because we've already spent a lot of money hiring the employee and training the employee. We don't want our money to go waste. So we want to try our best and be sure that we did all we could, but it couldn't work for the employee. So we check where the problem is. If it's the role, we change the role. If it's not the role, then we assign developmental goals for the objective. We also assign learning goals as well for the objective for the employee, so that the employee can be what we want him to be.
Okay, so by all means, there is a way.
Yes, there is always a way. Yes. Yes. But if we realize that it is deliberate on the employee's part, then we have to also make the hard decisions as HR, because we can't always be at the losing end. The employee should win as well as the organization should also win. So if the employee is deliberately doing that, then we have to call the shots. Let him go.
It's been great this morning, and we would like to thank you all very much for making time to join us for today's webinar. Like Francisca said, we'd like to engage more, and so kindly send us an email on sales@persol.net, and we'd like to engage and see the way forward. Thank you very much, Francisca, for your submissions. It was great. Now, some takeaways that I took from this webinar, and it is the fact that as HR, we need to identify potentials, and we have to assign them roles whilst developing them, and then giving them all the mentorship that they need, and keeping data, accurate data for that matter. We are good to go for succession planning, and then we eliminate the story of the runaway talent, but rather we retain our workforce, and then we make our organization a better place for us to all work. Thank you so much for your time. Have a good morning.